Telecameras 3 and 4 working. Activate radio contact with the outside.
Love, wisdom, abundant life. Live a life filled with meaning, purpose, and a sense of accomplishment.
Can you hear me?
Welcome to the Teachings of Enoch. I'm your host, James Allen. Listen every week at this time on KKVV AM 1060 Las Vegas. You can listen online at kkvv.com, on your smartphone using the TuneIn radio app, or listen anytime at teachingsofenoch.com. You can contact me by sending a text message to 702-483-7769. That's 702-483-7769. Or online at teachingsofenoch.com. Let's get started with today's message. Have you ever made a huge mistake at a point in time that you were really trying to go to the next level spiritually, emotionally, or professionally? Perhaps you were trying to get rid of a bad habit, and in your weakness, you gave in to temptation. As you look back at that moment, you feel disgusted with yourself. Maybe you were struggling with bitterness or anger, and something happened to cause you to lash out and say something very cruel. As a result, you feel incredible guilt. Or maybe it was work-related, and you were looking forward to an excellent opportunity, but because of your negligence, the opportunity is no longer available. Now you feel like a big loser, and you feel defeated. Failure, no matter who you are, happens. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was defeated in 8 previous elections for political office. And he also suffered from a severe nervous breakdown. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, typed up her book on an old typewriter only to be turned away and rejected by 12 publishers. Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC, he didn't start his chicken business until he was 65 years old. At the time, he was living on about $100 a month Social Security check, and he couldn't stand the thought of being broke in his old age. When you're going through the impact of a screw-up, the gut-wrenching feeling of failure just seems to overshadow the failure and success stories of other people. And even your own past victories and accomplishments don't seem that great. For the next few moments, I'd like you to take an honest look at what caused the screw-up in the first place. It's important to be honest with yourself. Playing the blame game is for little kids and people that lack maturity. If you don't honestly examine yourself, you will never come to grips on why you messed up in the first place. And more than likely, you will keep repeating the same type of mistake over and over. You and I, we want to grow. We want to be mature. The Apostle James wrote to the early Christians, "Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and not lacking anything." I'm going to touch on 3 areas: spiritual, emotional, and professional. I realize that depending on where you are in your journey in life, some of these areas may not apply to you right now, but they may apply in the not too distant future. Let's talk about the spiritual. If it was a spiritual or moral lapse that you had, think back on the circumstances leading up to the event. What were the things leading up to that incident? Did you let yourself be put in a compromising situation by perhaps being with the wrong place, with the wrong person? How can you prevent this from happening over and over? Again, the Apostle James writes, "But each one," that means you and I, "is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed." Another translation puts it this way: we are tempted by our own desires that drag us off and trap us. Personally, there are people that I cannot hang out with because I'll be tempted and possibly ending up in a spiritual situation that is not good. I like to hang out with them. I enjoy their company, and that's what makes it a temptation. Someone once asked Robert E. Lee, the leader of the South during the war between the states, or known as the Civil War among us Yankees, why he didn't like to drink alcohol. And this is what he said. He said it wasn't that he didn't like to drink, but that he liked to drink. And that's where the problem was. He liked it too much. When you have a failure in this area of your life, it's important to ask God for forgiveness. Ask the people you hurt for their forgiveness. Don't make excuses for your actions. Own up. The writer of the book of Proverbs tells us, "He who conceals his transgressions will never prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will find compassion." Ask for the wisdom from God and strength to avoid situations where you will be tempted. James again writes, "But if any of you lack wisdom, you should pray to God, who will give it to you, because God gives graciously and generously to all." Emotional. Now this area can blend into our spiritual area, but it's a little different. This area involves anger, resentment, or an inability to properly handle stress. This results in emotional blow-ups, cruel words to people, and sabotaging other people. The causes of emotional failures are unending, broken relationships, feeling like you don't get what you deserved, feeling betrayed, disappointment with others or even yourself, and resentment with those who are successful. Emotions can be hard to control, but we must not let them master us, nor make excuses for them. A friend of mine used to justify himself constantly staring at other women by telling me, "Well, my wife told me that if she ever caught me cheating, she'd leave. So I have a ton of looking to do to make up for not touching."
Dog got the mighty, let me tell the news. My head got wet in midnight dew. Great God, I've been down on my bending knees, talking to a man from Galilee. My God spoke and he sounded so sweet. I thought I heard the shuffle of angels' feet. He put one hand upon my head. Great God, the mighty, let me tell you what he said. Go tell that lonesome liar, go tell that midnight rider, tell the gambling, rambling, backslider. Some people go to church just to signify, trying to make a date with a neighbor's wife. Brother, let me tell you, just as sure as you're born, you better leave that woman alone. Go tell that lonesome liar, go tell that midnight rider, tell the gambling, rambling, backslider, tell the bottom gonna curve him down. Run on for a long time, run on, ducking and dodging, run on you for a long time. Let me tell you, God Almighty gonna cut you down. You might run on for a long time, run on, ducking and dodging, run on you for a long time. Let me tell you, God Almighty gonna cut you down. You might run on for a long time, run on, ducking and dodging, run on you for a long time. Let me tell you, God Almighty gonna cut you down. You might run on for a long time, run on, ducking and dodging, run on you for a long time. Let me tell you, God Almighty gonna cut you down. You might run on for a long time, run on, ducking and dodging, run on you for a long time. Let me tell you, God Almighty gonna cut you down. You might run on for a long time, run on, ducking and dodging, run on you for a long time. Let me tell you, God Almighty gonna cut you down. You might run on for a long time, run on, ducking and dodging, run on you for a long time. Let me tell you, God Almighty gonna cut you down. You might run on for a long time, run on, ducking and dodging, run on you for a long time. Let me tell you.
When trying to master your emotions, you may find yourself needing some help. There's nothing wrong with seeking out help from other people. When my kids were younger, I felt a tremendous amount of pressure to watch over them, earn money, to take care of them, raise a family in a way that is honoring to God. There were times that I didn't properly handle the stress and I just blew up with inappropriate words. So I got involved with an outreach program at our church that dealt with stress and anger management. And it really helped me realize that there were alternatives to dealing with stress. An employee at a large company was sending out an email to his supervisor saying he wouldn't make it to work because of a sudden death in the family. He said he'd be flying out to the East Coast for a few days. Yeah, this guy had been less than honest in the past. So he attached an airline itinerary as a proof, except the itinerary showed his destination to be Hawaii. Well, when he came back, his supervisor asked, "How was Hawaii? I hope you were offered another job while you were there." Have you ever prepared yourself for a career opportunity, and when it finally came along, you messed up? Let's look at professional mess-ups. For me, this is the kind of thing that affects me spiritually and emotionally. I take it so personally because I feel not only did I let myself down, but I let God and other people down. And I feel I really ruined my reputation. When I was a young man in college, I was hired to be the caretaker of a beautiful home in the foothills of Southern California. The owner found my name by calling the Christian university I was attending. They had a job referral office, and the school gave her my contact information. The owner would be gone over the summer and needed someone to make sure the grounds were taken care of. And in return, I would get a place to live on site. At the same time, I was also going to summer school full-time and working as a broadcaster in radio. I thought I could have a place to stay, continue my fast-paced life, and take care of the home and the landscaping. Well, I soon found out that taking care of that huge home, all the fruit trees, the general maintenance took much more time than I had planned. Well, unexpectedly, the owner of the property showed up, and I had just gotten home from a 45-minute commute from work, and the owner began to chew me out for not properly keeping up the property. She asked me to pack my stuff up and move out immediately. She called the Christian university that referred me and let them know in no uncertain terms that she was extremely disappointed. Now, personally, I felt devastated inside. I felt I let her down. I felt I let the school down. I represented them, and I let God down, and I let myself down. One company that I did some work for had a wonderful secretary. One day, she updated the phone list and emailed a copy to everyone at the company. But also included in the document was another document that showed how much everyone made. Pay, bonuses, stock options. Everyone's pay was included, including senior management. Lucky for her, she had a new job lined up. Here's what I learned through my experience with the house and the property management. First of all, own up to your mistakes. I didn't make excuses like, hey, the property looked fine. She was out to get me. Or, I don't know what she expected. The reality was I had way too much on my plate, and I really should not have taken on another obligation. Second of all, when you screw up professionally, examine yourself and figure out why it happened. Were you too busy to focus on the important issues? Did you give it your total priority? Did you adequately prepare for the opportunity? I think many times in the business and professional world, when the opportunity comes along that we're seeking, our emotions can take over. We get excited. After all, this is what we've been working toward. But our emotions can trick us. They can fool us into letting down our guard. Going to the next level professionally requires continued commitment and maturity. So if we mess it up, it's important to be honest with ourselves and examine why we messed up. That doesn't mean that we beat ourselves up, but it does mean being honest with ourselves. If confronted with the exact same situation again, what would we be? How would we be different? Maintain your integrity when you mess up. Don't badmouth the other party and somehow try to put the blame on them. If you go down that road, you end up cheating yourself. And this can prevent you from going to the next level when the next opportunity arises. Sometimes other obligations, whether they be family issues or even personal issues, can prevent you from going to that next level. Not handling stress or not handling your time wisely can really put a huge block in your professional career path. More opportunities also mean more responsibilities, more obligations, more stress. So be prepared. Don't feel like it's the end of the world when you goof up. It can and will set you back, but learn how to grow from the experience.
What's going on? What are they stopping for?
Love, wisdom, abundant life. That's my hope for you. You've been listening to the Teachings of Enoch. I'm James Allen, your host. You can contact me by sending a text message to 702-483-7769. That's 702-483-7769. Or online at teachingsofenoch.com. You can listen to this program every week at the same time on KKVV AM 1060 Las Vegas. You can listen online at kkvv.com on your smartphone using the TuneIn radio app, or listen anytime at teachingsofenoch.com.